Hello and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. So you can see that I've finished doing all of the walls down here in the Nether hub, and it was this bit over here that we had left to do from last episode, and if you remember there was an annoying lava lake in this corner, and that was probably the most tedious part of all of this to do, but it's finished now, and I say it's finished, we still need to go to the other side and do some terraforming, and oh god, it's happened again. Right, let's get the bow. Yep, this is something I was about to talk about in a minute. The thing that I want to do next is finish the floor so that ghasts don't keep spawning. But as I was saying, yeah, we need to do terraforming out on the other side. We need to cover up all of the stone bricks that you can see out there and make the lava lakes look a little bit more natural as well. But anyway, I'll do the rest of this in a moment. And what I want to do this episode is build the map and put the glass on top of it so that ghasts will stop spawning. You can see why I'm getting annoyed by that just then. So then the only places that mobs will be able to spawn will be over against these walls, and ghasts won't be able to spawn on that because they need a 5x5 area. And if you saw when I turned around and we saw the ghast there, it was very close to the ground, and that's because ghasts actually spawn on the ground. They don't spawn in the air like some people think. They'll always spawn on 5 blocks on the ground. So these being the only spawnable bits, that might annoy me in the future because pigmen will spawn on it and start walking out on top of the map. So we can actually replace these with upside down stairs, but it would mean digging and going behind, and then that could be a real pain because there'll be lava lakes down there, but it might be possible, and I don't know. We'll think about that later anyway. So what I want to do is build the map, and the way I'm going to have to do that is measure out the size of this place, figure out how many blocks there are, which will be pixels in some sense, and then I'll go up into the overworld, get the picture of the map, and then convert the pixels on that map into blocks down here in this place. So then I'll be able to tell what blocks do we need where. And I think I'm just going to start off by building the main island in the middle, and we'll leave the wall to a little bit later because I still need to do a test on the lava to find out how the fire spreads and to make sure that none of the wall in here will get set on fire. I now have a map of the island which is 52 by 52, and that's the size of the blocks in this room on the floor, and I thought I'd explain to you how I did this in case any of you want to attempt something similar in your Nether. So what you start off by doing is pressing F3, and you need to go to each wall in the room and note down the coordinates. So over here the coordinates are Z minus 440, and that's the axis that you want. When you walk away and back to the wall, that number will change, and that's the one that you want to note down for this side of the room. So you do that for all 4 sides of the room, and then you go and multiply those numbers by 8, and then that will give you the equivalent of where this block is in the overworld. So I went into the overworld and I got out my map, and I've never opened a map in the Nether before. I was interested as if to see if you could actually make a map in the Nether, and this one's already been made in the overworld, so it might be a good idea to actually make another one and see if you can do that. But what I did now is I got in a boat and I swam out to the coordinates that we got for each of these sides. So the 440 that I got here, I multiplied that by 8, and then I went to where that was on the map, and it's going to be roughly where the cursor is there, somewhere up the top. So when I went to each of these places, because I went to all 4 sides, I would look directly down, and then the map would always be in the same place, and then I took a screenshot. So like that, you take a screenshot, and then I had 4 of these and I overlaid them in an imaging editing software. So when the 4 of these were overlaid, we had the map with the 4 points on all at the same time. And then what I did is I cropped the image so that those points were on the edge, and I counted the amount of pixels that there were on the actual map to find 52 going across and up and down as well. So that image that I have now, I've also made it a little bit easier, a little bit clearer to look at, so the pixels are all the same size, because actually here they're not. They change a little bit, like some are 5x5 and some are 4x5. It's hard to explain. But I think it has something to do with the resolution that I play in. So anyway, now that I've got that map, I can start placing down the blocks, but the problem is there's actually a few different colours of grass and a lot of green for the woodland areas, and I was also thinking about how over time this is actually going to change a lot, so I might have to come back down here and remove some of the glass and replace the blocks underneath at some point. And again, there's 2 shades of yellow and 2 shades of blue, so the blue is sorted with the 2 different walls that I've talked about already, the normal blue and the light blue wall. So what we have here are some blocks that are different shades of green, and I've been thinking about what ones are actually going to be usable. Now first of all I want to rule out the lime because it's just too much of a contrast, but this one here, the normal green wall, or dark green, I forget what it's called, it's just normal green, that fits in quite well with the grass around it, and also does the top of the melon block as well. I think that would be a good transition between grass and having a beach, or maybe those two different colours of sand that I was talking about. Yeah, there's two different colours of sand on the map. Let's just have a look at what that looks like next to sand as well. Bit too much of a contrast for that, but it is possible to have a transition like that. And then we also have the lead blocks here. Now these do look good, but they're transparent, and when you put the block below, I'm not really sure it's going to work for what we want it to do. It's too much of a contrast as it is, and just the way there's gaps between would mean we'd have to probably put grass below like I've done there. So I'm going to rule out the leaves as well. So we've got two different colours of grass that we can use, and possibly two different colours of sand, although I haven't really gone through the yellow blocks yet because there's yellow wool. Just put that there. It's pretty much a similar colour to the melon. And what else do we have? Sandstone. These wooden planks as well might work. End stone, in fact. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's try those out quickly. So I think that's not really going to work because textures are pretty much the same colour, just different texture. But the sand next to the end stone, even that kind of works. Not really too sure about all of this. Doesn't really go next to the planks. See, as well as just having the difference in colour, you need the textures to be quite similar, and luckily these two work well together, but you can see that these ones here don't really mix too well. The end stone is a nice lighter colour, but the texture on it is just so different from the sand, so I'll have to play around with this more and see what I can come up with. So I've made a little mock-up here, and when I was looking at the map I also missed out this texture here, stone, which fits in just right, and that's actually what it represents on the map as well, because there's some exposed areas where stone is revealed a lot. So the water looks good with the two different colours. There's two different colours on the map. There's two different shades of sand, but I've tried a lot of things and it just looks best like this. I think keeping it simple is what's going to work best for us. And the thing that I'm not too sure about at the moment is the grass, because there are about 3 or 4 different colours of grass on the map, and then about 3 or 4 different colours of green again, which represent the trees. So at the moment I'm a little unsure of what I'm going to do. I could either have 2 different colours for trees, which would have to be the walls, which contrast each other probably too much, because to have the grass not being grass in the Nether would just be a little bit confusing. So what I will probably do is pick whether to use grass and the lime, or grass and the normal green wall. But the thing with this is I think the lime's a bit too much of a contrast and doesn't really represent the trees too well, whereas the darker green does represent the trees but also fits in nicer with the green. So the grass. So it's quite likely that I might just ditch the lime that we have here, have one colour for grass and also one colour for the trees. So here is an image of the map that I've been using, and you can see that the image has been overlaid because there's 4 cursors on it all at once, and also on the left hand side you'll notice that the image is slightly brighter, and that's because I took the screenshot of that during the day and the other ones at night. But anyway, you'll see, as well as the colours I've been talking about on the map, that there's also this brown, slightly reddish colour in the middle, and that's where our little hub is with the potion lab. And also up there to the left and up a bit there's the mob spawner. So I probably won't use the same colour there. I'll probably build something custom within the Nether to represent what's actually there. I decided it's best to keep things simple, so we have one colour for grass, one colour for sand, one colour for trees. We've also got stone, and then we have 2 colours for the water. And the map actually generates it with 3, which I thought looked a lot better, but it looks okay with 2 as well. I've started building a segment of the most northern part of the island here in the Nether, and I've only used sand and grass at the moment, and I'm waiting for the grass to spread, as you can see. And I've been thinking that building this is going okay, but It's quite likely that ghasts will spawn in here and then they'll start shooting at me and blowing all of this up. So I really need to get prepared so I can do it all in one big go, to limit the amount of damage that the ghasts can do. So in order to do that I need to place down some of the wall. I haven't placed down any yet because it's surrounded by water, and this part over here is where some of the green wall goes, which represents the trees. So I know it's safe to place down the wall in some areas like here because there's no lava near it, but over in that corner, this one, and all of this side here, there's plenty of lava behind those walls. So I think it's time to start doing some testing and experimenting and find out how we can make it safe to place the wall. I decided to take a break and go caving for a bit. I think last episode I forgot to go caving and do the test on the mob spawner, so I thought I'd better get it out of the way while I remember. And I'm not sure if we're outside of the range of the base or not. I think we are by about 200 blocks, but I'm going to write down these coordinates because we've got a skelly spawner here, and I was thinking that we could make a trap with that, although it would probably be kind of useless, especially if it's far out from the island, because we have the mob spawner, and that's probably going to give us a plenty enough supply of bone meal. And as well as that, I found a mine shaft down here, a really big one, and I've avoided exploring it, and I've just been lighting up all of the caves, but they keep intersecting it, and it seems like there's a lot of cave spider spawners there, so maybe that's where I'll make my trap as well once I've fully explored that. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. Really cool ravine, loads of lava at the bottom, and yeah, when I first found this bit I was running down, placing torches, and then had to stop, almost fell over the edge. But I'm excited, I'm looking forward to exploring this. I like the ravines with the lava lakes at the bottom. But anyway, I'm going to finish up caving, go back to the surface, do the test, and we'll see what kind of rates we get. I finished doing the test and I've written down the results on the sign. This time we got 42 bones, which is a bit more than last, but we got less arrows, we only got 39. And then we got the same amount of rotted flesh, which is 38, and 60 gunpowder, which is a little bit more, but on average I'd say these rates are probably about the same. And the place that I went caving was all the way over there again, behind those trees, and I was just looking at the sea there. You can see the edge of the loaded world, and I think that where I went caving is actually out of range of this mob spawner, so it probably didn't affect it at all, as the results would indicate. So what I want to do next time is go down to the strip mine, and some of the tunnels there have caving systems in them. So if I light up those caving systems, they should be a lot closer to the mob spawner than the ones I did last time. And what I think I'll do is go caving for 2 or 3 hours and try and make a big difference so we can see a big improvement on these rates. So next I said I was going to be testing the lava because we want to condition this area so none of the wall gets set on fire. But I actually remembered something else that I want to do, and I thought it would be best to combine the two, because the plan was to build this all in one big go, condition the area so the wall doesn't get on fire, gather all the materials and build it in one go, and that's mainly because of ghast spawning. They'll start blowing everything up, but I think it's going to be unlikely that we'll build the whole thing without a ghast spawning, so what I want to do is half slab the entire place. And I remembered that I wanted to stockpile a load of half slabs, and they are the wooden ones, because at the moment these don't get set on fire, and when you double them up like this they also don't get set on fire, and that's really useful to be able to have that, because there's going to be times when you want to build something out of wood that's going to be right next to lava or something else. You know what I'm talking about. So in 1.3 these half slabs, when we make them, will have a different block ID, and the new half slabs will get set on fire. But we can actually make a load of these and keep them because they have a different ID in the game. So it seemed like a good idea to stockpile up on them, and I thought I'd use the opportunity to half slab the entire place, and then when we come down to actually building the map, we won't get interrupted by ghasts or anything because they won't be able to spawn in here. Okay, I finished slabbing the area in here, and I started out actually by laying slabs down on every single block, and then I realised that was really silly, so I spaced them out like this, and what this does is it prevents there being any 5x5 areas, which is what a ghast needs to spawn. So pigmen will still be able to spawn in here, but the ghasts won't. I finished doing my tests with lava, and I was hoping I'd be able to come back here and tell you how lava spreads, maybe show you some examples and explain it in detail, but I actually just couldn't get my head around it. I was doing tests based on what people were telling me, I was looking stuff up as well, and I found the whole thing to be really confusing. In general, the problem being that everyone gives you different numbers about where fire can spread to, and it didn't always seem to add up. So anyway, I gave up on doing that and just focused on finding a solution, and this is it. This block cannot be set on fire because all the blocks around it are covered on all sides, and this doesn't count diagonal, so we don't need a block here or above this one in the gap there. And I think this is a lot of what people were talking about, is that fire and lava that spreads fire through air blocks, and because there's no air blocks around this one, therefore it cannot be set on fire. Now, when these ones over here got set on fire before, it was because I covered the top up with glass, but I didn't cover the side, so that allowed it to get set on fire. So when we do it this time, what I'm going to do is first of all replace all of this netherrack with cobble, and yep, it's a lot of digging again, but it's worth it. I think there's a chance that somehow maybe something will happen, probably a ghast firing a ghast ball into a lava lake, and it will end up blowing up one of these netherrack blocks, and then one day we'll come down here and all of our wool will be burnt, which we don't want. So I'm going to replace this all with cobblestone, and then when I build it section by section, if I finish building one part of it, I can just mark up the outside bit like this with cobblestone and stop it from being set on fire. And then when the whole thing is finished, you can imagine we've got a layer of glass on top, we've got netherrack on the bottom, we have netherrack going all the way around the side. Oh sorry, I say netherrack, I mean cobblestone. And that means that every single block that we've placed down will have another block next to it like this, so there's no way that it can get set on fire. And then the other thing I was thinking, I was talking about putting some of the nether portals down below. That shouldn't be too much of a problem because I don't think there's any lava lakes down here, but that's something I've got to keep my eye on if I do choose to do that. As you can see, I've cobblestoned the room, and this took me a long time, and I think it is worth it. It did start to seem a little unnecessary. Maybe in the middle we didn't really need to fill it all in, but I'm kind of OCD like that, you know. If I start doing the bits around the edges, I want to fill all of it in. And I don't know, I reckon there is a chance that a ghast could fire it into the lava lake and it will travel through and hit the netherrack, so we've ensured ourselves from that disaster happening anyway, because if it were to break the netherrack and all the wool would get set on fire, it would spread around the entire outside of the room, because all of that is where the wall is. But anyway, what I want to do next is build a section of it in the corner over here. So we'll just build a small little area, and it will be all wool because the corners are going to be full of water on the map, if you know what I mean. So we'll have glass on top of them, and then the ones on the edges will be exposed, so I'll have to put a row of cobblestone on this side and that side, and then I'll probably leave that for a while I work on some of the land, because we don't have to worry about this. Ghast can't spawn in here and blow it up, so now these bits are safe, and then we'll see after a while if my theory is correct, which it should be, that if the block is surrounded on all sides it won't get set on fire, and then I'll be happy to start building the rest of it. Okay, making progress. You can see I've done some work over here, and this bit in the corner hasn't gone up in flames yet, which is a good sign that it's okay, because there's a lava lake going around the whole corner here and underneath the cobblestone that we're standing on as well. So I've been expanding everything out. I haven't put glass over the top of these bits yet, mainly because I'm waiting for the grass to spread, although I guess I could put it on this bit up here. And yeah, I think I need to now go back to the main island, gather all the sheep and get a lot more wool, because I've been doing this for a little while, running around collecting them from sheep, and I get a couple of stacks and then it's gone before I know it. And yeah, I've put the glass on top of the wall and the cobblestone on the sides, because I know somewhere around here there's some lava underneath this cobblestone, so it's a good idea to just do this. And then all of the flammable blocks, being the wool, are now got a block on all sides of them, so they won't catch on fire. Okay, this is about a quarter done, and as always it takes me a lot longer than I expect it to. In fact, this is quite a few hours of work. I've done some live streaming with Hypno, he came down and yeah, he helped me out for a bit. And I just want to pillar up and have a look from above so we can see what it would look like from up there, because that's where the storage area will be at some point. And yeah, and you can see how the nether portal blocks the view of this bit here. I'm thinking it probably is best to move these underground, but something we'll do in the future, not anytime soon. So from up here there'll be another layer of glass, which will be the floor of the storage area. And although the view is good at the moment, that would mean we've got more of these lines where the glass are, and that would look even worse on default as well. So I'm glad I have this texture pack. And yeah, if you look in the corners you can see, or sorry, at the edges you can see it's slightly brighter, and this is because we've got the redstone lamps just above. So I was thinking that the light they provide is actually quite important, so when we put the glass floor down up here in the storage area, it might be a good idea to grid out some redstone lamps or glowstone so that it provides more light to that below. But it is coming along nicely. That's wood there, by the way. I went for wood in the end because, well, it made a lot of sense, the mob spawner being built out of wood. And someone suggested in the comments that we could actually colour code things, so we could have red wall there, and then it could go down below to another portal that has red wall in each of the corners, so you can clearly see what room it's for. And I don't know, that's a good idea. And the other thing about that though is that there's lots of lava over here, especially in that region and this region here. There's a lot of lava, so if we ever build something out on the corners of the islands, then it might not be a good idea to put a portal below it, but I don't know, I'm just speculating. So I've got a few things that I want to talk about now. Hypno came over here and had a chat with me, and I was telling him how difficult I find doing the LP at the moment. So I guess you guys get to see one side of things. You get to see the end product, all the little recording clips that I've put together, and I see everything, you know, I have to do everything, and this LP is a lot of work, and some of you can obviously figure it out. I do get comments from people saying that they appreciate that I do all of the hard work off camera and I put it all together and, you know, get a lot done in an episode, but lately it really has been a hell of a lot of work. Just look how much I've done here in the last week, and I work 3 days a week, so I just have, you know, 2 sets of 2 days to play, and I just have to be very industrious in those days and get digging and do tons and tons of work. So what I'm saying is, you know, the amount of work I'm putting into the LP at the moment is starting to make it quite difficult to keep it up. This episode would have fallen short of, you know, the time that I would like to provide you with entertainment if I were to just finish this bit off here and then say thanks for watching. And it's going to take me a fair few hours to finish this room, and I felt like I needed to finish it for the episode, so I'm not going to be doing that. I just wanted to talk to you about how I'm going to change the way I do things. Now, I'm not going to put out another Hermitcraft episode for a week, so the next one will come out next Tuesday, and the reason I'm doing this is because I really want to reinstall my computer. I've recently purchased a solid state drive, and if I install that I can rearrange my hard drives and basically give me a lot more space to record with. And the chat that I had with Hypno was very productive. I was telling him how difficult I find it to sit and chat to the, you know, to the camera, if you like I'm doing right now, and I wanted to get better at doing that. And what he suggested was that I just record all of the time, and I said, well, I can't do that because I don't have the space, but if I reinstall my computer I'll have the space to record constantly. So this means that if anything interesting happens, I'll be recording while I'm doing all of this industrious building, and then some of those stories I've told you about the ghasts firing at me when I'm building I can actually show you. And I believe that by recording constantly I'll also be improving my skills as a commentator. So I really want to do this, and I think it's best just to get it out of the way rather than keep putting it off, which I've been doing for a couple of weeks. And I've also got some new equipment. Thank you to everyone who's donated. The money is being put to use. I recently bought a chair for my computer. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not, so I can sit comfortably and there's no squeaky chair noises in the background. But now I've also purchased myself a Yeti microphone, and that's a real professional one. And as well as that, I've got a pop filter for it. And in the post in the next couple of days will be a boom arm for it, so I can have it on my computer desk and put it right in front of me and talk while I play. And so the audio quality in my videos should be increasing. I'm trying to sort out the whole issue with the volume thing. A lot of you say it's very quiet, and also the quality of the microphone. The one that I'm using at the moment is so temperamental. Sometimes I don't even move or change it and it sounds different. Often it can do this thing where it picks up the bass very loud and the less bassy noises become very quiet. It's probably doing that right now. I'm going to play back this clip in a moment and get frustrated, but if it is like that, I'm sorry, because I forgot to test it. It's Sunday morning right now. But anyway, so yeah, the plan is to, I'm babbling a bit here, the plan is just for me to reinstall my computer. It should give me more hard disk space, it should mean better content in the long run. So I'm going to miss the next Hermitcraft episode, and I also wanted to finish this, so with the time that I get to play today, asides, I'm also going to be preparing my computer for being reinstalled and all the hard disks rearranged. I'm hoping that by the time we get to that next episode I can start off by saying, hey look, I finished it. But if not, I hope you'll understand. It takes a lot of time to do this. As well as just building and placing all the blocks, I have to go and farm them as well. I have to get lots of wool from the sheep farm and all of that. So I hope I covered everything there. I'm just going to listen to that back quickly. Okay, so there's only one thing that I forgot to mention there, and that is live streaming. When I was chatting to Hypno, we done a spontaneous live stream, and the reason why is because he said that I should live stream more, and I said I'd like to, and the reason that I don't is because I don't like to give away what I'm doing in an episode. But then I thought again, you'll probably, if you come in and watch the live stream, it's usually just me going to be building something like we were building this bit here. It's not really going to give away too much about what exactly goes on in the episode, plus you guys seem to really like live streaming, so in the future I'm probably going to try and live stream like once or twice a week, probably with Hypno on the weekends, and just get into a habit of doing that more often. And these live streams will probably be unannounced on YouTube, so although in the future I might switch over to YouTube because apparently that feature is being rolled out at the moment. But if you're interested in watching the live streams, you'll have to subscribe on twitch.tv to get announced to that. And if I do any big live streams, I do have a few cool things planned. I'm not really sure if they're going to happen anytime soon anymore, but if I do these things, I'll announce them on YouTube with a video. But any casual streaming that I do will be on twitch.tv, so you might want to go over there and subscribe. So to summarise that up, I'm basically saying that I just need a short break so that I can reevaluate how I film and create this content for you, and also to sort out my computer. So the other thing that I just want to mention before we're done here is just thank you for all the support, everyone who comments and watches the videos. It's really appreciated, and you guys have been great to me for a long time, and it really does help, all the feedback and ideas. I love to read the comments and see what you guys think. It's very motivating to help me make this content for you. So thank you very much everyone who's been watching, and yep, I'll see you next Tuesday.